I can have my ground plane right here. I like to do this kind of stuff. You can add your speed lines like this, but now they're going this way. This is the ground plane, but I'm using these lines to feel like they're going in this direction with these lines. See how I'm drawing these lines like this? They're going in that direction. And I can call those my speed lines. Speed one, go to filter, but this time I'm going to go to motion blur and I'm going to pick this line here and I'll make it go horizontal in the direction of the movement like that. And I'll make it even more blurred like that. Maybe 4038 is a good number, it looks like. And I'll do the other ones in here. These will be a little more even. Right over here, right there. I'll just do some longer lines. I'll have my blur there. S2, so S1, S2. S1 seems a little light, so I'm going to duplicate it a few times to make it a little heavier, and I'll merge those so the lines are a little more readable. I'll add some lines, full long lines to this too, just to add some more variety. And then you can add debris on the ground. You can add anything you want. So we have that. Then my anime lines again, speeding like this. But now these are horizontal. Same thing. So there'll be A1, blur, and then A2. Oh, they cannot be in the same place. I'll group them together like this. Some can be longer for variety. You just want it to pop from one panel to another to make it feel different. In my A2, and then we'll just test this out right now by making a copy and do A2 and and S2 should be down here with that one there. And see how it looks. Yeah, it actually works. So if I have something on here, I have my A1 and A2 on. Yeah, look at that. It works. Totally works. And then it's just putting your character in the shot, doing something, and then adding something else in the background. I would add to create even more movement. You can put one on the top layer and call that FG1. And this is where you have to keep panning the whole thing or your foreground. So this is actually not a cycle. Your foreground can be trees. We can do the same idea of trees. So let's do this. Remember how fast things in the foreground pan? We're trees here. We've got some flowers here. Another tree. There might be two trees. And it might be a cycle you're going to do here. So I'm thinking maybe I might do a cycle. I haven't fully figured this out yet. I'll paint behind just to make them read a bit better. And then I'm going to add some tone by going to multiply. I want to create more silhouette in the foreground. So I'll do this. So we got our tree, we got some maybe grass here. I'll merge that. I'm happy with that. I'll make a copy. I always make copies of these if I add a blur to them. And I'm going to add a speed blur, the motion blur to the foreground. That feels a little bit too big. I'll do that. I might even make it darker by hitting Command U, and I'll pull the lightness down to make it a little darker. So now we have this. And I might do a cycle. Let's figure this out. So I have that version here. And then we have our background. I'll put my character, same guy running. So rather than getting caught into the details again, I'm just going to block it out as best I can. Just pick this leg going forward, this leg going back like this. So I know this arm is going to go back. A lot easier to draw this way. This fist is there. I'll give a crazy smile on his face. Here's our guy. I'll make him a little smaller too, just to give some scale like that. I'll put G1. And then if you want to get creative, go to your multiply and you can give him a contact shadow. You can add some tone to him to make him read a bit more. So I'm just putting some tones. I usually call this T for tone. Here's my guy. Now, my next layer, I'll make a copy and I will take these foreground. I go, boom, I'll slide them like that. And then I want some variety to this panning background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add something different in here. I will add a shrub for this just to make the pan feel a little bit varied and like this. And I'll use a lasso tool just so I can fill it in quicker and more accurately. This is my paint behind brush. If you feel confident, you can just go to multiply and you can paint right on top of your layer too. I'm doing this just so it's all in one layer. And I'll hit my Control F to add my blur. I'll hit Control E because it's on a separate layer with this one. So now I have that. And as I slide that over, that looks good, right? We have movement. The other thing I want to do is, do you see where these trees are? And as I hit this new layer, I have this tree replacing those trees. And to me, it pops. The image pops. I don't like that. I want it to feel like it's not, if I put this one on here and I turn that one on, you can see where it is. I don't like how it's lying there. So I might move it like here, just so I feel like I'm not replacing it. Do you feel that works a little bit better? The only thing I want to do is make sure my character isn't blocked by things in the foreground. I think that's okay. He reads pretty well. So I'll make a new layer above my guy here, but I'll turn off the tree for the time being so I can see him. And I will also make an onion skin again. I'll just go G. I'll fill in this layer. So there's my onion skin so I can see my guy more clearly. And then I'll do the same thing. If you didn't want to draw his face again, you could just copy and paste his face. I like drawing stuff over again because it just forces me to not be lazy and to construct stuff. So on these repeating drawings here, I'm trying to put the hand a little bit different position as the previous arm. And I would maybe even put this arm up a little higher here so it doesn't feel like it's just popping from side to side. I know this leg is going to be back. I'll put it down a little bit lower just to change the shape. And I'll maybe make this leg, I will absolutely make this leg a little bit more active because I don't want to feel like I'm just popping the drawing. His leg is a bit long here. When I mean popping, I'm just tracing it over in the same position. So I want it to feel like there's some variety here. G2, guy 2, and I'll turn that back on and I'll turn where's my guy 1? I'll put him up here so I can see him. And the only thing I have to do is add tone to this guy. So I'll change that tone. I'm going to actually I'm not going to merge the tone. And there's a reason why, and I'll tell you in a second. I'm going to keep this tone with this guy 1. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm putting guy 1 and tone into its own group. I'll hit Command and highlight them. Command G puts them in their own group. Now I have my guy 1. I'll turn that off. And my guy 2, I can now make my shadows on him. Contact shadow from that tree off so I can see this part. And the reason why I'm doing this, if I were to merge this guy here together with my tone value, watch what happens on the shadow below. If I hit Command E, the shadow now turns opaque again, and anything beneath it becomes covered up. So I don't like to merge my characters into one. But when he's on its own layer, because my tone layer is on a multiply layer, which means I can see through it, anything beneath it I can see through. If I put my multiply layer back to normal, it covers up anything below it. And I want my shadow to be transparent. So I keep my shadow on transparent mode. If I merge them together, it won't work. So I keep them in their own little layer box. And then I'll go up to here and turn that like that. And so now I have a guy running like this. The only thing I might want to do is I might move him forward a little bit to give some forward progression in the shot. And then I'll pull my new layer down and I'll take my foreground element and I'll move it over like this, like that. Then I'll have a gap of nothing, which is totally fine. And then I'll turn my A1, where's my A1 and S? I'll bring these down. So I like to have my layers together. I'll have my animes together and my speed lines together. So I'll go to speed line 2 and A line 2. And now I have more movement here, except my guy's not moving. So I'll go to G1 again and I'll move him forward a little bit like that. Do you see that right there? And so the last thing you can do is to create more spatial awareness of where everything is you add a background element that creates more of a location. So we're out in the forest. I'll put a ground plane here. I'll put a big boulder here in the background like that. And I'll put some trees in the background that are smaller. And we know that because these are farther away from camp, what's going to happen, everybody?
They're going to move slower.
Yes, exactly. So that's my background. And I'm going to slide this up into every panel. I'm going to slide this up here. Before I do that, I'm going to move it like that because I know I have to slide this background a bit. I'll put a log here. More trees and more debris and stuff like that, some rocks. Then I'll make a copy by hopping Option, BG. I'll slide it up here to this next group. I'll drop it in here. I'll bring my background behind the character. and I'll pull it like this. They're going to move a lot more slowly in relation to the foreground elements. I'll pull it all back down here again to the lowest layer, and I'll pull it like that again. And now we have much more movement. Look at this. See how fast the trees move in the foreground versus the background? And then I'll make another copy of that same top layer. I'll take this background, and I know that I want to do cycle now. So I'm going to copy this top one by holding Option, and I'll pull it down so I have a duplicate. I'll pull this over here. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take this from this point on here, and I'm going to make, I have this bottom one and I have this top one, and I'm going to merge them together. So now I have a longer panning shot. So I'll pull this in, pull them like that. So I have this movement, and then I'll take my guide 2. I'll move a little bit further forward. I'll put my anime 1 again, my speed line 1, and my background like that. We have a side pose now. What do you guys think? Make sense? You see his relationship moving the guy in that tree from this pose here. You can't see it because it's hidden. Here, he's getting close, a little bit closer, and he's about to pass it. So I'm moving the background slower and the foreground very fast. Rather than continuing to draw my foreground, which I've done many times if I want to add variety, in this case, I'm just going to slide this stuff over. I'm going to do what they call this a 2-field pan in the old 2D drawing days, or a 3-field pan. This box right here is considered a field. And then imagine over here, the same length of box is over here. That's another field. And in some TV shows, the Flintstones or the Jetsons, they would have like a 2 or 3 field pan. This is old cartoon stuff, but if you ever saw Fred Flintstone driving his car, you'd see the same stone houses pass by over and over, and you'd think, I just saw that house pass by. That's because they didn't want to repaint new information all the time. They'd paint this field. Let's zoom out here. We'd have it here. We'd have another field here, another field here. They'd paint enough information there, and they just slide the background all the way, and it would loop so that whatever was finished at the end of this field here would connect at the beginning of this one. And so it seems seamless. That's a very cheap and inexpensive way of having to repaint stuff. And now we've created something that has depth of field. We have an extreme foreground element. We have our center area or middle ground, and we have our background. So what I'm teaching you guys to do is add depth to your shots.